Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Here we have a MAF sensor connector from my 2009 Mazdaspeed 3. You might be wondering why it's not installed in the car. Well, the reason for that is with these cars, as they get older, the wiring here in this MAF connector is getting a little bit brittle. So what ends up happening is the electrical pins inside the connector here clamp down on the wiring strands within these wires. And over time, that connection starts to get a little bit weak. So if you've got this problem, one way you can find out if you've got this problem actually is by taking your Cobb access port, your trusty, nifty Cobb access port, putting it up on the dash so you can see it through the windshield, starting the engine up at idle, and while the engine's idling, you can monitor your short-term fuel trims and your air-to-fuel ratio, and you can wiggle the wires, okay, up and down while the engine's idling, and monitor to see if the air-to-fuel ratio and short-term fuel trims are fluctuating quite a bit. If they are fluctuating quite a bit, then there's a very good chance that the electrical connection inside this MAF connector is starting to get weak. So I've had this problem for quite a while now. I managed to live with it for quite a while, but I realized that if I don't have a good quality MAF connection going to the ECU, then obviously the ECU is not going to be able to fuel the car accordingly, because the mass airflow sensor is basically telling the ECU how much air is going into the engine, and if the ECU has an inaccurate signal for how much air is going into the engine, then it doesn't know how to fuel the engine properly, and that can cause a whole slew of problems. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I soldered in a new replacement MAF connector, and we're going to find out if this fixed the problem. Got to make sure this solder joint is good. This is the signal wire to the split-second controller. Solid! Just take this heat shrink, wrap it over the top. Gently. Look at that. Gotta love Bic lighters. This thing's been sitting in my car for probably like 5 years. Still works. I'm gonna burn myself. Just wanna protect the joint. Wanna protect the joint, man. Ow! Ooh. Close this off. Yup, it burns. It definitely burns, but I'm holding the pain in for Mazdaspeed life, baby. Come on. All right, I just want that glue to dry. There we go. That's our signal wire joint. And as you can see, the color of the wire is a white with a white red stripe. And that is the center wire here, which lines up with our OEM wire here, the one in the center. Now all I gotta do is follow how this connector looks and connect it to the same colors on this connector. Connect those to the wires in the harness. In this case here, the black wire will actually go with the black wire because the original connector, the black wire is in the same spot. I'm guessing that's ground. Give myself some extra. Ooh. Put some heat shrink on there, grab the black wire. You know what, I'm gonna wrap it from this side. Because I'm a righty, so I'll challenge myself today. All right, here's my portable snap-on, butane powered soldering iron. I'm excited, guys. I wanna see how this is gonna improve the MAF calibration style setups, you know? Gonna prime the iron. You know, my back hurts. There we go. There's the prime station. There we go. Next connection is going to be the one on the very right. the connector, which is this like turquoise color. That's going to be lined up with the red wire here. If we look at the harness, the OEM harness, this wire right here, this turquoise wire here. This one's a little thicker. So I'm going to go with number 3. Oh, I apologize for the bad lighting here, guys. This was sort of a last minute video. Take the red wire now. High quality connections are key in this life, and that doesn't just apply to soldering. Make sure it's centered over the joint. Oh my gosh, can't even see. Sorry guys, I gotta go lefty so you can see. Be careful here, don't burn the MAF connector, please. So we've done 3 connections here so far. Okay, we've done the red one on the outside, which goes to the turquoise one. We've done the black one here on the right side inner, which goes also to the black one on the OEM harness. We've done the middle wire, the white wire here, which splices into the white, and I think that's a red stripe or a brown stripe. And then we've also tied in our split second controller signal wire, splice that one in. The only 2 remaining now are the 2 yellow and green ones on the left side of the connector. And based on what we can see here, that is going to be, is that a red wire? I must be colorblind. Red and then a white and turquoise stripe. So let's start with the white and turquoise, which is going to go to the yellow. There we go. Ooh. If this works, then obviously it's a good purchase. And from what I've read, people have had success with it, so let's see if it's true. Keep in mind, I do have the split second controller spliced in there, so that is another thing to consider as well. If you don't have auxiliary fuel with a split second controller, you won't have to splice in that extra green wire going to the split second controller. But don't forget your heat shrink. Put your heat shrink on before you solder, because then you have to unsolder it to put it on. Soldering's pretty cool. I like it. I don't do it every day, but you know, when I do it, it's like a little challenge every time, but it's fun. You gotta get the good solder. The solder that has the flux in it, like the, can't remember, it's something core. It has something in the core of it, which makes it adhere to the copper better. I think I went a little too hot on that one. Kind of melted the insulation a little bit. This is just a little pad, right? So it's a wet pad, just to clean off the tip. It's a sponge, a wet sponge. See if I can lighter this up without burning myself or the other wires. Who knows, maybe I'll have to redo a MAF calibration, because maybe the MAF calibration I initially did was on a bad MAF connection thing. So maybe the MAF calibration is a little off, because who knows? Or maybe it'll be spot on when I start the car back up. So we're all connected here, guys. You can see here all the wires down here from the OEM harness. This one here I spliced into as well, but I spliced into the split second controller wire, signal wire. So what I'm gonna do is kind of line everything up in a straight orientation here. Oh yeah, the white one lost a little bit of length. Okay, I actually forgot to put this sleeve back on. So it looks like I'm gonna have to use electrical tape the whole way down. I really hope this works, guys, because if it doesn't, then don't buy it. But I think it will. We're just making electrical contact better. That's all we're doing. Not extraterrestrial contact, but electrical contact. So rip this off. Okay. So what I'm doing is taping up to here, and then I have to let this wire stick out, and then I'll continue taping from these wires on. Oh, and another thing I want to mention too, guys, is be gentle with these wires, because the wires that go into the main harness here, you don't want to rip them internally. So just be gentle, because who knows how old these cars are getting pretty old. So we want to make sure we don't have any other wiring issues caused by us. I've been screwing up a lot lately in life. See how the white one is shorter than the rest? I could even this out. I can just cut right here. I can cut right here and just even it out a little bit. So that's what I'll do. I cut this one down here. Boom. Cut this one here. The white one's shorter, we're leaving that one alone. This one I will cut here. And then the green one I will cut even further down here, just so the solder joints are not clumped up together, they're offset. All right, let's start with red. Okay, red. So again, the white one's a little bit shorter, so I'm trying to just shorten everything out and offset the joints. Trying to get the solder into the wiring strands. Makes a good connection. All right, so the length now, it's a lot more even. Keep it level here. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a piece of electrical tape right here to start. I think it's gonna work. Leave a comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Okay, so check it out. That looks pretty good. I mean, it doesn't look perfect, but it looks decent. Now, the other thing that's interesting is it's gonna tuck itself under here, like that. And it's just, you know what, I might even actually just tuck this from inside the back side. Ooh, like this. Please don't break. Please don't break. Just wrap it around here and just, look at that! Oh my God! We actually now have somewhat of a reliable connection. What do you think, guys? I soldered that in myself. All right, guys, so a little update. It's been about a week driving around with this new MAF connector harness replacement. And you can see I put some nicer tape on there so it doesn't look as butchered. I also put a new cork sport intake filter there. But here's a side-by-side of the OEM connector versus the new one here. Just a little bit different in terms of how it looks, but it connects up perfectly. This one here, actually, this is the packaging. It's from a company called Michigan Motorsports, and it says here that it's for a Tacoma or a 4Runner. So what that tells me is that the MAF connection on these Toyotas might just be very similar to the ones used in our cars. So I looked online, guys, quite a bit. This seems to be the only MAF sensor connector harness replacement that I could find based on my research. It's been about a week, and no issues at all to report. The only thing that I had to do was a slight touch-up MAF calibration, because I did notice that the long-term fuel trims were just a touch rich. The highest I saw was about -7 to -8%, which means it's pulling approximately 8% of fuel. So I did a slight touch-up MAF calibration to get that correction a little bit closer to 0%. But other than that, you know, no issues to report whatsoever. And I guess that's kind of to be expected as well, because obviously when I initially did the MAF calibration on the tune with this factory connector, it had a bad connection. So you want to make sure your MAF connection is solid before you start tuning. That's definitely an important thing. But yeah, this is seems to be working out pretty good, guys. So let's go for a little spin and see what kind of turbo noises we can make here on pump gas. So right now, the car is hitting about 26 PSI, 26 pounds of boost. In the top end, it's hitting about like 22, right around like 4,500 RPM or something like that. And then it kind of tapers up to 26 or 27, depending on how cold it is outside. But yeah, like I said, I did a touch-up MAF calibration. I don't know if you can see it. Long-term fuel trim on the bottom right at idle there is right around minus 1.72. I mean, look, the fuel trims are not going to be 100% rated 0 all the time. They're going to fluctuate. I mean, even just putting a fresh tank of gas in there can sometimes get them to fluctuate. But I think a decent MAF calibration is anywhere from, like, you know, plus or minus 5%, let's say. I mean, ideally, you don't want to go too off the mark in terms of how far off of 0 you are, but you know, it's a MAF calibration, right? So we just want to be as close to 0% correction as possible, and then that's it. You know, if you guys have if you guys put one of these harnesses in and you realize that your MAF calibration is way off, then obviously you're probably going to have to either do a touch-up MAF calibration yourself if you have the software, or contact your tuner, because you want to make sure that the fueling to the engine is accurate. So pump gas, 94 octane, 26 pounds of boost, and let's see what happens. I don't know what to expect. Actually, I know what to expect. I know what to expect. It's going to be violent. It's going to be kind of scary. Trying out this custom hat that I put together here with the GoPro. So it kind of just sits right above my eye line to give a very accurate POV. Let's try a little second gear with a little bit of data logging happening. Oh man. Let's see what third gear will do for us. It's on pump gas. Okay. I don't know if that was clutch slip or f***ing tire slip. Like 26.82 pounds of boost. I don't see any concerning knock there. Fuel trim's pretty solid. All right. No issues to report with this connector, guys. Well, seems to me that this MAF connector replacement is working just fine. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Take good care. See you next time. Peace.